Welcome to Benjamin Zulu Show, the biggest show in East Africa. This is where we come to tackle issues concerning relationships with Coach himself, Benjamin Zulu. And this beautiful day, we want to talk about how sponsors disorganize your life. And I know we are living in days where people want to live this kind of flashy life that you cannot sponsor yourself, and so you have to go for someone who will come in to sponsor that kind of life. And we are here to tell you, if you see a sponsor, a rich man, a rich woman who is coming to sponsor your life, reject him, reject her with all his money and her money. Reject and run for your life, because you cannot become wealthy by receiving free things or given things. Who can handle such matters? It is life coach himself, Benjamin Zulu. Yes, sir.
Hello. And you know, our culture has praised. There's some things that the culture has drummed so loudly that those who are trying to speak the truth can hardly be heard.
Yes.
It appears like people can be parachuted. Somebody can come and make you kuomoka. They take you forward.
Yes.
They come around and shoop,
like a thunder.
They turn your life around. Big car, big house. You know, like now you have this money, you have this business. Your life has now arrived.
Yes.
We have been painted with that picture. That a wealthy guy. We also have Ben 10s, the young guys who are going for wealthy ladies. And the picture of women has been louder. That. And do you know that people still don't believe that a young woman can get money on her own? That thing that is only a man who could make a woman rich was there in days gone.
Yeah.
Some people still argue that way. If a woman drives a car, they still want to think a man bought it for her. If a woman builds a house, they're still trying to look which man is behind it.
Yes.
Although the evidence is all over, our women are heading corporations. Our women are actually in politics, in business. I have gone to hardwares and found that it's run by women through and through. Men are only appearing in store to lift the cement.
And some men will still ask, how did she get that kind of business?
The owner is a lady, employed another lady, actually employed two ladies.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, is it only a coincidence? There's a more drive with women. There's a time I was doing a historical background, archaeological history of communities. When I was telling ladies from Central, that time we were talking about what you inherited from your mothers. The men from Central fought for independence more. The Central Kenya, their land had been grabbed in higher numbers because it is highland. So the whites, the colonialists, the settlers were more there. So the men in that community were mobilized to go and fight, and they stayed in the forest for decades, for years, trying to fight. Socially, the women were left to raise children around. So occasionally they would meet their men, taking food and all that. In the meantime, they're getting birth, giving children, giving birth to children, having now to form circles. So banks like Cooperative Bank, the circles you see that are big, that came from that area, it was a social phenomena where women were forced to take over social responsibility of paying bills, feeding families. Men are out there fighting. And so those women who learned to run their own lives, they gave birth to children and transferred that philosophy that you must stand by yourself. And the boys who were brought up by those mothers, to this day they still swear with their mothers. And it's Peter Kigia, but we're Esther. Esther at the top.
Yes.
So you find that men will attach the mother there as a hero because of that social phenomenon. These people argue that girls can't get money on their own, houses on their own. They're just closing their eyes because the reality is too ugly for their ego. We have communities where women had to survive. And if they did not, if you don't work, you perish. You end up in the streets, homeless, no food. You starve. So some communities, women were forced to stand up because of the invader who had come. And their men had to go and fight the invader. So they were left. In these other communities, it has arrived at the same place through other effects. Because alcoholism has swept away so many men The other day I observed a phenomenon that whenever you post online, something that has maybe spirituality or virtue or encouraging a virtue, the biggest fighters will be men. Those who talk most trash are men. This generation has a lot of rotten men. And it can hit you until you sit back and wonder what is happening. Why is the men group, as compared to the women, so negative? Where is the anger and frustration and bitterness? Even a young man can trash talk a prince. Boys who have nothing, who don't have innerwear, whose clothes are torn at the buttons, they can raise their mouth and write trash. Lying on a mattress on the floor somewhere in Mwihoko, the boy can trash talk a governor. Even when a governor has lost the election, he's still ahead of him.
Yes. Yes.
You have no house.
Yes.
And using Facebook free mode, you can write trash. There's something with the male camp. My brother, we must do something. There's a lot of negativity with men, and one reason women had to stand up because they are very lazy, passive men sitting at home with the remote control and demanding her to pay for his expensive lifestyle of drugs and fun. Many women are keeping men there so that the children can have a father figure. It's not because he's a husband. It's because he's a dad.
Yeah.
And she does not want the children to grow that role model like she did. So she's hoping any man being around is better anyway. He is their father.
Yes.
Can you do your census among your friends? Again, whenever you want to sample, just start with the people you know.
Yes.
Post on your status.
Yeah.
Guys, I was just wondering. There's only 10 guys who might respond. That's enough sample.
Yeah.
It's just enough sample. Let me tell you, we nearly lost an entire male race. The negativity, the bitterness, the lack of respect.
And who is to blame?
I stopped looking for who is to blame. I started dealing with the culprit to ask them, how did you become this way? Because I realized we are all asking, who caused men to think this way? I'm no longer looking at the boy child now. I'm not dealing with the child, I'll deal with the man. Of course, we use the boy child to talk about the men.
Yeah.
In a general sense. But I observed so much negativity, and I was attaching this one here to tell you, there are still men who are in denial that women can stand on their own. And one reason they're in denial is because they themselves have refused to step up. They have adopted a combative, negative, toxic approach to life. I observed in Kenya, the most negative group is not women.
It's men.
There before, the feared group was single mothers. They were feared. You said anything with the word single mother inside, prepare for storms.
Yes.
Even if you're trying to say what, they were trigger happy.
Even if you're fighting for them, they just
it was forbidden to type the word
single mother.
Imagine.
Yes.
The people in my practice, speakers and whoever, whenever you tripped and mentioned that word, you'll be trolled the whole week. You're stigmatizing. We have our life. We are making.
Yes.
Nowadays, they are not the top of the chart in being trigger happy, in being carrying stones to stone anyone.
Yeah.
It's the man, unfortunately. It's the man.
Very sad.
It's the man. And when you look at the profile of the one who's talking that level of bullshit, when you look at the person who has typed that, they need food.
Yeah.
Is the person you would give to the international community to solicit for food aid. They're an exhibit of how bad our state is. Imagine.
Yeah.
But when you look at the language they're talking, and you just wrote, the other day Kipchoge made Kenya proud by breaking records, his own record, and he's advancing further. And then news came up that his wife, she had prayed for him for 7 days.
Yeah.
She said she had been fasting for 7 days. And you could see he did not just win, he also had favor with people. He had a lot of favor.
Yeah.
He had grace and people like, so those who know when God is present, they could see this man as God's grace.
Yes.
Now we have seen a woman. And so people are posting and saying, yeah, when you have a woman who can pray for you, man, you will not just win.
Yes.
You will win with a that.
Mm-hmm.
And you will win because an athlete can be perfectly ready to play, but then masupo, injuries, weather, flu. 100 things can interrupt a person who was ready to win.
Yes.
There are many circumstances, there are many things to do with health. Let me tell you, when people posted and said this woman prayed, men came there insulting, blaspheming. Men. I saw the other day, the first family had a meeting of prayers in the State House.
Yeah.
And then I saw the comment that, and in an hour, men are insulting and blaspheming. Men. By far and large. 90% of trash talk about prayers was from men. Tell me, make sense of that for me. Make sense of that for me, my brother.
Where are we headed to?
Tell me. Simply having done a prayer meeting.
I mean,
somebody saying, oh, remove all these prayers here, take them to where there is Buddha land, where there is Tukara, where there is Fabio, oh, there's religion, oh. Talking trash. And there's one of them I wanted to respond, but I held myself back. I said there are too many. And I wanted to ask him, can we agree with you, me and you, that the manner in which you are despising prayer and grace, for it to be withdrawn from you for just a period of time. And if you survive that period,
yes.
now you'll be at a good place to give us a feedback. Right now, you are talking when you are under the cover of the thing you are insulting.
Yeah.
If God withdraws his grace, because it says whatever 2 or 3 agree, I will do. Let us agree, me and you. For purposes of experiment.
Yes.
God, me and this guy I agree.
Yes.
Just, he's saying you're not that important, so
remove your grace from him.
Only a part of it. Maintain the grace for the heartbeat. You are always making your heart keep. So maintain enough grace for him to be alive.
Yes.
But remove the favor for jobs, the favor for health. Remove that for a while. Let us see how far this guy can go. And then we shall revisit. I could almost challenge each of them straight like this. Tell them you're talking insults, you're talking blasphemy because of ignorance and pride and ego. And because you're frustrated with your own life, you're pouring it out. My brother, what we are discussing is unfortunate. We are discussing a point where women have reached to a place where they can do things. But we still have a male group that instead of trying to catch up,
they are wasting their time there.
And specializing on verbal toxicity. I have not seen many teachers who focus on teaching men. I was wondering why. Many teachers whose message is for men, they teach them seek masculinity. And I've seen men who have hundreds of thousands of followers, and all they're telling them is, I don't know, don't simp for women, don't do this. The language they use is so insultive. And I asked one of them, who has hundreds of thousands, fat shaming a woman, putting a fat woman there saying, go and earn fat, don't talk to me. And ask him, can we look at your mother? Is your mother busy keeping body fit? Were our mothers concerned about keeping body fit? They were concerned about feeding us. How would you insult a mother? How do you insult a mother? How? And he himself is very influential. And I wanted to square with him. Why are you posting something like this when you have maybe a daughter, a sister, or even just your mother? That's all. All men were born by mothers. So where do you find the courage? Will you send this message to my fellow men? And talk to the young boys to stop swallowing blasphemy, to stop insulting matters of God, matters of prayer. The more we insult, the more we fight, the more we diminish the place of God in our lives, the more we make our situation worse. the more we make our situation worse. I decided early on that if, like Paul says, he was calling those mothers, women, they are his mothers. He was regarding to them as my mothers. Greet this one, it's sending greeting as if to a mother. Honor will open doors for you. Dishonor will close doors for you. Get dishonor out of your life.
Yes.
Don't trust talk. Don't demean. Speak with courtesy. Speak with honor. Speak with respect. Speak in a sense that when people hear you, they are attracted to help you. All right? So, that said.
Yes. Back to the sponsors. They should sponsors. But message is home.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Now, when you carry this belief around that a man can come and the word sponsorship used to mean a genuine financier.
Yes.
Trying to fund your welfare.
Yes.
To fund your education.
Yes.
To fund a project. And it used to be a group, an organization, or an individual. So, as it is the nature of the enemy, the destroyer, he does not invent. He only distorts what is already invented.
Yes.
So the sponsor, in terms of strict English, is funding, financing good causes.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, but the sense in which it's being used in our culture is no longer financing good causes.
Yes.
Is mortgaging your body for money, for goodies, for lifestyle, for status, for a car, and it looks like it's an option. It's been marketed as if a girl can either work hard or get a loaded guy. And nobody has preached the truth about it. Let me tell you two principles to carry home. You don't become wealthy by getting a good man even as a husband. You will still remain, you will never be a wealthy woman for marrying a wealthy man. You will never be a rich woman for marrying a rich man. Why? Because wealth is not the things that are surround you. That if your husband has big cars, or he has bought you a big car or built a bigger house, giving you this amount of money, have you observed the oddity of the wife of a wealthy man herself being very petty?
Yeah.
Herself harassing workers over 2 shillings, having no grace, no courtesy, no mercy, no compassion for the poor.
Yes.
Pushing bargaining an onion from a poor vendor.
This mindset.
And she parked a big car. Wealth is not what you own, is how you think. So you can marry a wealthy man, but if you don't think like a wealthy woman yourself, you'll never be wealthy.
So you need to change your mindset.
It is a matter of growth. In fact, I know when we were preached Christianity early on, when we were young, we were taught to just focus on God and forget the rest.
Yes. Come to Jesus,
So
and
forget-
all issues are sorted out.
We were taught that one line only. And half truth is dangerous. When you read the Bible, really there's something else being emphasized there, which we don't preach a lot. And the reason we don't preach a lot because many of those who are preaching don't know it. And we are so dependent, we don't read the Bible for ourselves. There's something that I picked and which blew my mind. One, and the child Jesus grew. Hey, towards people, towards God, in favor with God, in favor with man. He increased in knowledge and wisdom, being in favor with God and in favor with man. But when you are early as a Christian, they don't talk about growth. They talk about just love God, be more dedicated, seek God, which is true. But because they are omitting something else, your life will lack balance. So you find people who are very spiritual and very poor, very broke.
Yes.
And although they meant well, when they finally reach rock bottom for the lack of the right knowledge, they'll end up with a sponsor. They'll end up with compromise. They'll end up with people who rescued them when they were in a situation and they end up compromising. This story is very common. This person was on fire for God, fire, because they were preached only fire for God.
Yes. So they are on fire.
Fire for God.
That one we agree.
You burn out with time. If you only have fire and you don't have growth, if you don't have a life to fuel the fire, eventually it will look like this is very unfair. I've given all my life and there's nothing to show for it. So if it's only fervor and zeal without knowledge, without understanding, you're supposed to grow in knowledge and understanding, in wisdom and understanding. Balanced, being in favor with God and man, having to know how to live with people, how to build resources, how to be valuable, how to add value, how to change people's lives. If that part is not there, you'll be very spiritual and very broke. So you find many people who, they could not resist when somebody sent 10,000 to them suddenly and they were behind in rent. They will say, God bless you. And they know what the person wants. Next time they send again. Over time, now you rely on them. You have to do what they want. Many people have mortgaged themselves to slavery, silent slavery. So the one rule I want you to carry, you do not become a rich person by association or by marriage. Even if you get a rich sponsor, you are not a rich person yet. You are just a dependent of a rich person. Learn that. You can't become, and tell those boys who are rushing to wealthy aunties, you only become a dependent, not another wealthy person. You become their subject, to use as they want. Whoever pays the piper calls the tune. They pay you, they call the tune. When people feed you, they also feed you with their philosophy. Whoever gives you food also tells you how to behave, how to think. In any case, they have the proof that their method works. Yours is not working. Let me tell you how to save yourself. And then they will tell you how to go around life. And because they're feeding you,
you have to.
Listen, if you rush to marry a rich person before you can be rich yourself, you just become their dependent. They will swallow you. That is the first rule. And this is not to say you should build wealth before you get married as a girl, or is to be able to be resourceful yourself and valuable, so that you know you're not marrying them because of you think alike and you are headed to money yourself. What mothers were telling cows is to get a rich guy, so that the rich guy can bring many cows at home. So there are mothers who fed that philosophy to their daughters, that the solution is for you to get a rich guy, he bring us money. No, become a rich woman yourself. Become a wealthy woman yourself. It is slow, it takes growth, but it is permanent, it is reliable. It is more peaceful. The second principle I want you to learn is the most important thing is not the degree you get, is not when you marry, it's not where you marry, it's not where you live. What happens and what makes you immune to being colonized by another person, being made a slave? There are two verses in Proverbs 22, and one is saying that the poor is a servant of the rich, you know, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. Even if the borrower is a Christian, even if the borrower is a well-meaning person, even if the borrower is
whatever,
whoever has the money is the one in control. There's another verse that that says, the poor and rich God made them all. He did not make them so, he made them all. It is whatever financial status you are in, time and chance was given to both of you. The bread was not for the strong, the race is not for the swift. Time and chance was given to both of you. Then you decided to be poor, you rich. It's the way you think, my brother. The most important transformation is, the most important process in this life is mental transformation. It's how you change the way you think. Your mind controls your money. Just know that. It's not your job. Many people who envy you ask, what did she do? What kind of job is he doing? Can you also do it? What did he purchase? What? They think it's the transaction he did. They think it's the business. They think it's the job. They think it's the car. They think it's the lady you marry. They think. And so they try to imitate what you're doing. The right question is not, what is he doing special? So what is he becoming? When you transform your mind, as a man thinketh, so is he. As you think, so you are. As you think, so you exist. The thing that causes you to be poor or rich,
mind,
the way you think.
And Paul says, renew your mind.
Let me tell you, if those people who think sponsors are the solution can understand these two laws, they will see how it's just a sweet poison. Then I'll tell you the quick disadvantages of having a sponsor and how they disorganize your growth. How did they disorganize your life? After you've understood the principle that association alone can't make you rich, even if you marry the person. Are we together?
Yeah.
You can be the first lady of a country and you're a very poor woman in your thinking. People hate you because you don't have the grace for wealthy people. You don't have manners of royalty. You don't have the conduct of respectability. You're still petty. You're stingy. I've been told of senior people who the spouse is a big person, but this person is very small. They even quarrel with gate men. So nobody respects them. And they're just an obstacle. But the person who is magnanimous and generous, that's one people treat like a king, like a queen, who has self-respect, who has generosity, who has compassion for the poor. But the partner here who is petty, argumentative, and fighting over minor things,
because of the mindset.
They are both in the same economic situation, but they are not the same people. Don't force your way to marry people without becoming that kind of person. It won't rub off on you. The first rule is you can't become wealthy by association. The second rule is, the most important thing is mental transformation. So what is the problem with the sponsors then? Sponsors, they parachute you to a level you can't maintain yourself. They may buy you a car when you are second year university, but the car requires maintenance.
You need to fuel the car.
The car requires insurance. The car requires, there are some things with cars, to customize them to your taste. To put a certain kind of sound, kind of lamination, some kind of this, tear and wear.
Yeah.
Even if they say they will be giving you the money, the confidence that you can pay it for yourself is what will make you happy in the car. There's a reason you don't borrow cars, because it's not yours, and if anything happens, it's a problem.
Yes.
When you are bought car by somebody, and you know you need to call them for everything, there's no joy there. And when I posted that, a lady said there, somebody bought me a car before I could afford a bicycle, and I regret it, because even fueling was a headache.
Yes.
And then cars require a culture. To live with a car requires a certain way of life. The roads you use,
Yes.
the places you pass, the servicing, you learn that culture and it becomes part of you. But if it is coming from somebody else before you had grown organically, gradually, to that level, it's a borrowed prestige. So you can't maintain it. You can't maintain it. So one thing is, the things they give you require maintenance. The house they buy you require maintenance. Things they give you require maintenance, and they stress you. So the first thing they bring you, because they've taken you to a place you can't maintain, you become stressed. The stress itself takes away mental peace. The second problem is they take away your freedom. Because you need them now to pay the rent for the kind of house they gave you. You need them now. You become their slave quietly. You lose power to self-determine. I want you to, this is why women, those who start that life, they start moving one man to another, because to maintain the status the other one had put them, they can't afford to stop posting the proud, the high class, the high life they were posting. They'll be laughed at.
Yes.
The clothes they were wearing, the money they were flashing. And that person is no longer interested. They have to look for another one. If you agree to be parachuted, you have to look for a way to maintain yourself there, and it is very hectic.
Yes.
It is better to go step by step. It is better to slow down and grow into that level. If you cannot grow into that level organically, even if somebody carries you there, they won't maintain you. In fact, they'll just have disorganized your life. And lastly, the way they disorganize your life is they take away your convictions, your values, your principles. You can no longer say who you are with any certainty. You can no longer say what you stand for, what you live for, what you can do, your bare minimum, where you are going. You have no voice. You lose voice to defend your positions in life. Yeah. You lose moral authority. People know your life is not your own. People know you are a rented person. You are kept. People know, and you lose all standard. That's why you try everything to decorate your body to attract any attention and respectability. And people can see you're not living by yourself, and somebody can demean you and you have nothing you can do because you've made yourself their subject. It is a hell to agree to be at the beck and call of somebody else. Don't change your body to attract men. Don't swallow things to attract men. Be happy with your body, and when you're authentic, you'll attract authentic people. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much.
What's that?
The message is home. Do you value yourself? If you value yourself, then run away from these sponsors, because they will ruin your life, and they will take you to places where you cannot maintain yourself, and so you must depend on them. And that is why they can call you at any hour, even wee hours, because you have to depend on them. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you next time.